Well, we don't have Jason with us tonight, so I'm not going to try to do a fancy intro or nothing special because that's just his thing. So you'll hear that next time he's on. But his internet's crapping out again. So we're just going to jump right into Blake and I talking about the results from the calling in Dallas, as well as what we're thinking and hoping for going into this weekend. So the results from last week were super interesting. I know we were chatting about it a little bit before we started this up, but what, I think I know the answer to this, but what stands out to you the most about the results from the calling? Let's stick with the calling first, and then we'll talk ProQuest.
Okay. I mean, nothing really stuck out as crazy to me. Obviously, the final was the thing that stuck out to me the most, but if you showed me the top 8, that's pretty much what I would have guessed a million times over. It's also something we've talked about with some of the local guys that we fully expect that to be kind of the way that things are drafted. Obviously the top 8 drafted together, so you're going to have the heroes represented a specific way. But I know one of the things we talked about a bunch is that if you said people are drafting an 8-man pod, what do you expect to be the representation? We've all said, I think 5 people draft Briar, and then either 2 Oldham, 1 Lexi, or 2 Lexi, 1 Oldham. That's what I expect in every 8-man draft pod that's ever going to happen. When it's different than that, it's actually shocking. So the fact that they have those exact pulls, right? 5 Lexis or 5 Briars, 2 Lexis, and Oldham. It's like, yeah, that checks out. That's exactly the hero representation I expect from an 8-man pod. So obviously seeing Oldham win it is pretty sick. So that's it's cool to see an Oldham Lexi final. That was shocking for sure. When I tuned into the final, and you're like, Oldham Lex, what happened?
Yeah, no, not seeing a Briar in the final was, I think it just kind of confirms what we've been saying a lot about Briar, and Jason's been, honking his horn about Oldham and Sealed and into Briar specifically. I think that everyone, it's like any time a new set comes out, it's like the same concept as aggro wins early, right?
Yeah.
Where Briar is like, she's got the most, I wouldn't say straightforward, but like the most obviously powerful cards. So it's like, oh, well, okay, monkey go burr. Let's grab these cards and just throw a bunch of arcane at them. And people's first couple weeks of playing Sealed or Draft, and it's like, okay, yeah, what do I even do against this? And then people figure it out. It's like, okay, well, playing the proper game into it really takes a lot of that. Oh God, what's she throwing at me now? That piece of it gets left out, and I think that it becomes a lot more reasonable to win. And I think you saw that. There's like perfect example. So if you're some of those people, it's just like, it's like that whole abhorrence I have for just like people that just bitch. It's like, dude, like, it's a thing. Like, worst case scenario, you're absolutely right. There's definitely better ways to handle it than you're handling it. You can make yourself look like less of, a baby. So it's just a little bit painful to hear like the incessant, like, oh, Briar, this Sealed format, Briar. It's like, yeah, but it is a thing. So figure it out. Or it's like what Jason said on the live stream or in the podcast last week. He's like, you either come in hot in public or you cry in private. Like, you don't, or you can do both. But just like, you can, if you're gonna, I don't know, maybe that's like old fashioned or something where it's like, I just fucking bitch to yourself at night before you shower or something. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to hear that.
I get annoyed when it just feels like people won't stop. It's that constant complaining, because when we hear people complain, right, like you, Jason, and I, about things just over and over and over that we share in common, is this common language of growing up with this pick yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, where it's like you can complain about something all you want, but it doesn't change anything. Or you can just try to find a solution to it and move, kind of just push your way through life. And I think we get annoyed because you hear people just complain, right? Like, what's the solution to Briar? Well, obviously it's just bitching more. Like, if you just complain about it enough, it won't exist anymore. That's the solution, right?
Yeah, I think there's definitely it's definitely worth pointing out too that I get the purpose of venting. Like if you just if you get your shit kicked in by like the third Briar in a row because you just haven't figured it out yet, dude, vent. Like it sucks. Like get it off your chest. You know, everyone's got to do that. We get it. But when it's like you don't want to be that guy, and I feel like it somehow got lost that like being that guy is a bad thing. Like other people don't want to talk to you because you're just the whiner. Like, but the whiner doesn't realize that, and then they just they complain about the community or whatever it is. Like we've kind of seen the gambit, I guess, throughout our games. And Flesh and Blood is far and away better. But I attribute that to the fact that it takes a little more mature person or tends to draw a little more mature crowd to play the game.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just more the fact it's when it's the same person over and over. That's what bugs me is I get to your point. I get frustration when you just are annoyed with the same thing over and over again. Like I get that. It's fine to be frustrated. It's fine to be annoyed with something, to be bothered by it. Some of it is the company that you're in too. You know, if you're just standing around at locals complaining to anybody who will listen, that's kind of a bad habit to get into. It's another thing if your buddy walks up, you're just like, yeah, man, played the third Briar in a row and just lost to arcane damage. There's nothing I could do about it. It's like, that's fine. That's your buddy. He's there to listen to you. But if you're just randomly standing at locals and if I walk by the same guy at locals, he's talking to 3 different people and it's the same conversation every time. Yeah, man, just Briar. God, I just hate Briar so much. It's so hard to deal with. Just get arcane to death. It's like, come on, man. Like, find a new topic, like start conversation with something else. There's got to be something good in your life going on. Like, is Briar that painful for you that you can't find a positive in life? Like, I don't know. I get it, though. I understand the frustration with it, but at the same time, I think that calling proved that if you're willing to adapt a strategy otherwise, you can win without playing Briar. You don't have to play Briar to win. And a lot of times what we've found is that if you're in a pool, we've done quite a few drafts. Actually, we're lucky because we have a lot of stores who do it. We've done a fair amount of sealed on TOA. And one of the things that I found personally, I think Dane would probably say the same thing, is if you're in a draft pod and you just decide, you know what, I'm just going Lexi, or I'm just going to go Oldham. If the first few packs look like they lean that direction, I'm just going to take it because why not? And a lot of times you get really, really crazy decks that do really efficient things that they shouldn't do in like a sealed format because everybody's like, Briar is how you win. A lot of people just automatically fall into that trap of you win with Briar. That's the only way to win is by playing Briar. I have to play Briar to win.
Yeah, no, and that's a total fallacy. I think that top 8 shows that, which is great to be vindicated. Who doesn't like to be vindicated? Like all those times you're like, dude, Briar's not, like she's not the end all be all in this set. Like there was a conversation I was having where someone was just going off about how could they say this is the most balanced sealed format when it's like Briar is just the obvious front runner. And I was like, I mean, yeah, that's like what the initial results have shown just like locally, but I don't my gut tells me that's not the case. And it's like vindication, Captain Holt, baby. Yeah,
I think the other thing we get into is that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy discussion that we had with Chain, where if people are like, well, I'm losing to Briar, it's like, okay, cool, but if 30 people show up to a sealed event and 27 of them play Briar because that's the thing, if you don't win, you lose. And if you lose and there are 27 people in the room playing Briar, who are you going to lose to? You have to lose to Briar.
Probably not Briar. Because that means there's 27 people vying for... I guess if you're talking sealed, not draft.
If it's just sealed, right? Sealed, like everybody if everybody in sealed puts it together in these giant pools, if you're at a local event, it's a sealed event. If everybody cracks packs and goes, I'm building Briar, who else are you going to lose to if you don't win?
Other than Briar,
Other than Briar, it's kind of hard. You'd have to be paired up with one of the other 3 guys or 2 guys that are playing something else. No. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If 80% of the room is playing one deck, you're going to play it a lot. That's just the nature of how it goes. And if you don't win, you lose. And if you lose, you bitch. And it's like, it's a pretty simple math mathematical formula. It's not hard to find. So I don't know. I think I get it. I understand it. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Speaking of frustration and of chain, let's hit the Pro Quest because I love that. That makes me very happy. How many chains in top 8?
0.
0.
Nada.
Yeah. Yep. I'd be curious to know, of the top 8, how many of them are former chain players that swap decks.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I wish we knew the actual makeup of the whole event and not just obviously, it's hard right now. I assume one day as the game continues to grow, maybe next year at the calling, we'll get a double live stream kind of thing, like a double dip where we'll get to see the main event and whatever the Pro Quest is on day. It's like day 2 is here. The Pro Quest is over here, because I would have loved to see some Pro Quest CC rounds just to get a feel for what the meta is. Cause the top 8 is obviously very, diverse, but not knowing what else was in the field is kind of weird too. Like, were there a bunch of chains that just lost? Are chain players still finding their way? Because there's something to be said for that too, that we're still pretty early in the set and chain players are trying to figure out what to do without seeds and how to build the deck the most efficient way. So I don't know. It's interesting to me that they're not there, but I would love to know how many were there in the beginning.
It'd be cool even if it was like an NFL Network thing, like this game ended, we're cutting over to the, you know what I mean? Like we'll cut over to this game for the next 17 minutes when we wait for the next round to pick up.
Yeah. Go to the Pro Quest while you wait.
Yeah. Like totally a secondary side event. I get we're not as big as the calling, but would still be cool. Good content still. Yeah. Like if you were to ask me what the most skilled pilots would be, what character would be represented by the most skilled pilots, I'd probably say Prism. I'd probably guess Prism. I feel like a lot of chain players, like, I think that if they were a really skilled pilot, they may have stuck with it, but I feel like a lot of them probably saw the benefits of other decks at that point. So Prism I felt was going to be really strong. So seeing her win again was awesome. But I don't know, man. Like 2 Bravos is pretty solid too. But how do you feel about the breakdown of the heroes?
Yeah, there were a couple things that stuck out to me. Number one, seeing 2 Bravos wasn't shocking at all because I think Bravo is very well positioned. I think anybody who's played a Bravo and gotten Terra Sundered and Crippling Crushed on back-to-back turns, probably did the same thing most people do, which is, this game is bullshit on the planet. Like it's like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I hate this game all of a sudden because being able to tear asunder a hammer is pretty dumb. I get that, but I still like to do it. So, and my Terra Sunders hit for 1 more because they're shinies. So, but the breakdown really, I was happy about it, but I wasn't shocked by it. Without chain, I feel like the field is a lot more open. Something like Dash is going to push through. Bolton always had a good matchup. Lexi has a lot better shot without chain existing, I think. And Katsu naturally has a good matchup into the field because he's one of those decks that exists in a world that's, we've talked about it a lot here. We've talked it on the channel before, and I think most people kind of have the same attitude, which is Katsu's a deck that will absolutely punish anybody who doesn't know exactly how to play it into it. Like, if you don't know how to defend Katsu, he's going to 20 you. Like, he's going to hit you for 20 in a turn at some point, and you're just going to lose the game. But then it's interesting because if you look at the top 8, exactly what I would assume would happen happened. Bravo beat Katsu. Bravo beat Lexi. Bolton won in a Bolton mirror. Go figure. And then Prism beat Dash. That is obviously, that's a matchup that you assume is going to happen 9 times out of 10, if not 99 out of 100, because it's just a rough matchup for Dash. The only thing that stuck out to me was that Bolton lost to Prism, which to me it says that it's an inexperienced Bolton player in the matchup, or the deck wasn't built to beat Prism, because we have a local Adam who's a very, very good Bolton player. Like, Adam has been so committed to that deck, and he will tell you, like, he feels really confident in the Prism matchup because he doesn't need his 6s and 7s to win the game. So naturally, the 9 cards in his deck that are 6 and 7 power are just cards he's happy to throw at a Herald. And then he puts on so much pressure that he never has an issue keeping control of the game state and continuing to apply pressure to Prism. So it's interesting to me that Boltyn lost, because I feel like that's a pretty favorable matchup for Boltyn, actually.
Yeah, that's definitely one where I'd be curious to see what the Prism players list was sided to, because I think that because like testing into Jason's Boltyn, and I think Jason's Boltyn might be like, it's really solid. I think it might be a little bit skewed to like favor a Prism matchup, which I don't think is even wrong as a meta call. Like, I think that as a meta call, it's probably good to have a deck that can handle Prism. But like, I'm pretty confident on my Prism play, and like that matchup's still tough, like every time. So I don't know. I don't know why it is, because I think about it too. Yeah. When I think about it too in my head, and I'll replay it after the fact, I'm like, well, how did he get advantage on me? Like, I still don't know where that happened. Like,
I think there were a couple things, like talking to Adam about it, because I wanted his opinion. I thought, if there's somebody I want, it's like he won an RTN with Boltyn. He topped a couple other ones. So like, what's your, what's his perspective on why Boltyn wouldn't win that match? Like, what would you have to do? And he pointed out a couple things. Number one, that Blinding Beam is actually super interesting into Boltyn, because the way that you can do things and how you can kind of mess with Boltyn is, like, Boltyn has to give himself go again, but it's a contingency on the power of his attack being greater than its base. And Blinding Beam can actually like take away via the Vanguard turn. So if they charge and pump V, and Prism can Blinding Beam the V, not even the card that's going to pop a Herald, but actually Blinding Beam the V of the Vanguard and just like completely nix a turn. So basically what you try to do to Prism sometimes, where popping their Herald and stopping a turn, Prism can in turn do that to Boltyn with a Blinding Beam. And I thought that was a really interesting thing, because I never thought of that application of Blinding Beam, like a defensive application, in the sense that it's a lot of times you're like, Blinding Beam is to protect Heralds, or it's to not die. Like, those are the only two applications of it. But to stop a go again, if their scalers are gone, is actually really powerful late game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. That's the thing too, is like making these meta calls right now. It's like, how prevalent's Boltyn going to be?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Because like the thing with Prism too is like, her 80 for me is super tight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what I mean, shit. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to experiment with what I take out of that 80, because like I feel really solid about it into every matchup, except for Boltyn feels like a really difficult matchup to win. I don't know that there's another matchup where I'm like, oh god, sitting down across from him, I'm like, shit. But Boltyn, dude, like Boltyn, I'm like, hope you're a bad Boltyn player. Here we go.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. We were talking about that. Like, most of the time, like in formats, you have like your triangle formats, and you're like trying to identify the triangle, and then how do you squeeze your way in with another hero? Like, how do you get an advantage over two of them, and let them kind of pick each other off, and you just beat the two and try to dodge the third. And it's interesting because, like, Prism beats Bravo. Bravo tends to beat the field. Prism has a good matchup on the field. And then like Boltyn comes in and he's like, no. I can usually handle both of y'all, but I don't always have the best matchup into the field. So I would like to spoil Bravo and Prism players' days all the time, and then not have to face the field and catch weird matchups. Because like Aggro Katsu can give Boltyn fits, because it can just get on top of him, and then he can't charge. He can't charge his soul. He can't protect himself. He gets behind, and it spirals. It's like so weird how this, and a lot of times there's this perceived triangle in metas and in Fab, because of the way that the deck powers and the way that you need to block and use your hand, and your deck efficiency all exist. All of those things can get skewed by the fact that it's like, yeah, we have this triangle, but it's not really a triangle. It's kind of like, this guy beats these two, this one beats that one. He kind of has a rough match for this, but he just mauls the field. And it's great. I love it. I think, it's more convoluted. And I think that's good for the game. It's not just like a really clear this and this are the best decks, or this and this are the best decks.
Yeah. I gotta figure out that Bolton matchup, man. That still gives me fits a little bit still. Also, I think that I play my Prism a little bit different than like the really control-y Prisms that are running around right now. So I'm hoping that like I just throw curveballs at people. Like I'll start doing something and they'll be like, "The fuck?" Like maybe this will win me the game. I don't know.
That's like being a Bravo player. Like as a Bravo player, I have a different attitude where it's like I'm not trying to throw curveballs. I'm just saying I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do it really well, and I'll bet you just can't do anything about it. Like most decks, it's like you look at decks like Katsu or Lexi, Rangers in general, and you go, I know you know what I'm gonna do in this matchup. I don't think you can stop me, because what are you going to do? Block with your armor? Oh, wait, you don't have armor you can block with. Well, guess what? You don't get a hand. It's like, I'm just going to do over and over and over. I'm going to go away again. I'm going to take your hand away. We're just going to work through this game real slow. You're going to be miserable. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah. So this weekend, we are both going to be at the Calling. There's going to be a couple other outcasts there, which we're really excited to have some outings as a larger group, because for those of you that don't know, it's not just Jason and Blake and I. Like we're kind of like the forerunners of the fab portion of the crew that we play with up here. But
we handle the channel.
We've got some other guys that we've drug over kicking and screaming from other games to join us in this world, and they're loving it too. So we've actually got some of them coming down with us. So it's going to be a really good time in Cincinnati. Definitely looking forward to meeting up with some of you guys who like our stuff and listen and chat. And there was a talk, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago, of doing like a content creator meetup. And I know that's one of the things that we loved about Destiny and our opportunity to like go and just like meet all the content creators. And I talked about this a little bit on the live stream, but just to recap, we nixed that. I actually thinking about it and realizing like, it's great for the community to like have all the content creators in one space. And we love that as like community members to go and meet them, but didn't really think about the fact that it's like, the content creators that we liked, they all were like forced to like rub shoulders all night. And we know that some of those content creators probably didn't see eye to eye a lot, and there was some friction there. So it's like thinking more and more about it. It's like, I don't want to do that. And like our namesake definitely holds true to a certain extent. We don't see eye to eye with a lot of other people, but just seemed like it seemed like a lot of effort. And also, I'd much rather just casually get beers with people that want to chat with us and like actually want to, not like, because I feel like you also get people that are just like, oh, like, yeah, we're big fans and just trying to like buddy up to you. And then you get people that, I don't know, like we've already seen messages and stuff come through from people that are like, it's like, hey, we really appreciate the support, but not, we don't have time. I don't have time for more friends. No thanks. Who's that stand-up comedian that does the bit? He's like, next time it's Tom Segura. Next time someone comes up to you and tries to start a conversation with you, just be like, nope. No thanks. Like, I was just going to ask you what time it is. I only tell my friends what time it is.
I mean, that, and a lot of it comes down to that, right? Like we've had this conversation a lot before. It's like, I love hanging out with people. I love getting to know people and chatting with people. I had a blast in Vegas, talking to people that, had followed the stuff. And they've been in the comments and things like that. But the reality is like the hardest part is we're trying to compete. We're trying to be friendly with everybody. We're trying to hang out with our friends and have a good time. And, if we did this as a living, it would obviously be different, but we've said before, like for us, this is pure hobby. That's the reason we don't paywall anything. It's the reason we don't have any sort of, Patreons or anything like that. And, but if you want to join our OnlyFans, you can. There's nothing on there yet.
Have an OnlyFans. I don't know if we're ever going to do anything with that. Really, I don't know if I think we've got one fan, and it might be one of the like owners of OnlyFans. I don't know, but
it's like Tom from MySpace.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's just hard when you're as busy. Like we try to respond to stuff, but I know sometimes comments will go a couple days, and then all of a sudden they'll like everything gets answered. I'll notice like I haven't had a chance. I'll get on, like I should check comments, and then Dane got to it first and just answered responded to every comment. in the last like 2 days that we just haven't even looked at.
It comes in
it's
spurts.
Just the nature of things. Yeah, it goes in spurts. So,
but yeah, moral of the story is definitely want to have a conversation with you, meet you guys. Like love to have conversations and stuff. Just didn't want to do it in like a forced, awkward family mixer.
Yeah,
that no one really wants to be at, the formal thing. So no, start a conversation, have fun playing games with us, grab a beer with you. Absolutely. We're not like fuck the community or anything like that. Still definitely want to have conversations with you guys. Just don't want to have to do it standing next to circle jerkers, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I'm excited for the calling. I think this is your first calling. You get to you're gonna lose your calling virginity.
Losing it, baby. Yep.
I get to go to calling number 2. I'm excited about that. It's going to be exciting to play the sealed calling. So there's a little more room. I was joking with my wife. I said, the nice thing about a sealed calling is there's a lot more room for, I just opened 6 really shitty packs. So like you can already feel good about
planning your excuse. Love it.
It's more the fact that like I like the fact that there's actually a sense of you can feel like the fates are against you when you open 6 really bad packs versus if you show up with a constructed deck and you just lose games, it's like, man, I really have to think twice about whether or not I'm good at this game. Yeah, like, am I actually good at this game? But if you open 6 bad packs and, the guy across from you just like steamrolls you because he's got 5 Majestics, it's like, man, when they shuffled those packs, this guy got them all, baby.
Dude, what? All right, but what if you open those like 5 Majestic, like your first pack, Heart of Ice, second pack, like you're just getting that you got Blizzard, and then you just get your ass kicked and you're just like, oh, fucking. The thing is that this is why I don't give any weight. Yeah, this is why I don't give any weight to pitching. Is because you could then just say, oh, dude, like my packs were shit. And it's like, no one's going to check you on it because no one gives a shit. So you're going to be able to like use that scapegoat. So in my mind, that's not a scapegoat. You don't get to say like, I drew bad packs. It's like, because if you lose it all, you can just say that. That doesn't count.
Unless you pull up your phone, right? You like get your phone. You're like, look, man, I got a picture of my sheet that got registered. Like, this is the picture of my sheet. You can look at my packs. Tell me that I built a bad deck, but here's my deck. You got to really prove it. Then you got to really prove it.
Which at that point makes you look just kind of like a little bitch. So it's a lose. Just don't complain. Own it. Like, I'll be honest. So if you guys aren't, I'm sure most of you are, but check out Team Covenant's like recap of Dallas, because Steven went through like them going through their pools, their experiences, what they built, who they played. Like, that was all because Steven fucking crushed it, dude. He did really, really good. It was awesome. Like, and then to him explain like, his pool, his thoughts between what he drafted and what routes he maybe should have taken instead. It was all really informative, which is cool. I love the fact that they're like getting into, because like a lot of their games, like I've been watching their channel for years now, and it's like a lot of their games they play very casually or just together on stream. Like the last time I remember, the last one was like Destiny, and that like Steven wasn't really into, but Zach was like into like going to like this scene. I think they both went to Worlds. I can't remember. I remember seeing Zach and talking to him a little bit, but I don't remember Steve. But anyways, like seeing them get really competitively into a game is really cool, because it blends the fact that I like their content and what they put out just casually is like something to watch and have on in the background with, I'm also interested competitively in this game. So hearing them and their thoughts, because they are good card game players. So having them invested competitively in it just adds that next level of like, you've given me all I could ask for. Let's go. Hey, let me watch more. So yeah, that was really, that was a really good video. So their Dallas recap, I think it was their live stream from this week. So check that out if you haven't.
I think I know one of the things that we've talked with people before too is that it's interesting because in like classic constructed format, one of the challenges is you have to really know the meta. You have to know your deck. You have to know how your deck plays into other decks. You have to know how to sideboard properly. And I think sometimes people assume that in sealed, you're taking out a lot of that, that side of things where you go, well, you don't have to be as good. Like, you can get more lucky. But when it comes down to it in sealed, like you still have to pilot it correctly. You have to build the deck correctly out of your packs. But I think one of the things that's really interesting about sealed is there's a lot of game theory and deck theory building that goes into the sealed experience that doesn't necessarily exist in classic constructed. Like for me, I'm much more confident in my experience playing classic constructed because, as I've said before, I'm not really like deck building is not a thing that I love to do. It's not something I feel like I enjoy. And, you know, Dane has pointed out probably correctly. This is probably the best way to describe it is I don't like the process of like tuning cards. I don't like to play a few cards 6 or 7 times and then decide, okay, no, it's not those, it's these. And doing that, you know, ad nauseum is not something that I personally get a thrill out of. I don't mind when someone goes, here's a deck, there's like 8 flex slots, and you can kind of figure out what those are for you. I don't mind that because then I'm just kind of tuning it to my feel and how I want to play it. And you know, I've been lucky enough to have people who've helped me with that kind of side of things and filled that role. But that's why in sealed, I get personally a little more stressed out and it's a little harder for me because I don't build a ton of decks and I don't spend a lot of time tuning decks. So I don't think as much about the intricate interactions in terms of the deck building side of things. I more think about how to pilot a deck correctly. So I like to see a deck a lot of times and play it. So sealed is like such a different experience of this game, and it's so unique to the fab experience that they go, hey, we love sealed. We think sealed is a great experience in our game, and we think it's built really well. So play it at a major. Don't just play it. It's not just a side event. It's not something you do at pre-releases. No. This is for all the marbles. You get to call yourself a calling champion if you are a really good sealed and draft player. And that's incredibly cool because like our buddy Robert, who, you know, plays with us now, Robert's like, yeah, I don't really love like classic constructed. It's fine. It's
whatever. On chain. He just likes he likes the aggro monkey decks. That's like his.
Yeah. He loves the ooh ah like let's just go and go fast.
Yeah.
But God, like he's, you know, I sent the meme today that like everybody's been putting where the guy, it's like the giant with the sword, and it's like Robert sealed fab tournaments, everybody else playing fab because like he just stands at the gate and he's like, you know, I don't really play a ton of constructed. I'm not a blitz player, but my God, like sealed happens and he just goes ultra instinct. It's like a new form comes out of it.
He's really fucking good at sealed, dude. Yeah. It's stupid. Because our records are bad against him in sealed, and he's been playing for like 3 months and like you know, playing his classic constructed decks. He's good. I mean, he's a good card player. I'm not going to take that away from him, but still, he sits down at sealed and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to EXO this thing. Let's do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll take the cold foil on the mat today. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. It's like, God damn it, Robert. Fuck you.
I told him, I was like, man, they announced skirmish season. There's going to be a ton of drafts. Like you could just go and clean house. Like you're going to have so many skirmish mats that everyone's going to want. You're just going to make a ton of money off of skirmish season. Just show up. Meanwhile, I'm over here like an idiot. Like, God, I need to really practice deck building because I suck so bad. Like, I drafted Lexi last night. That probably wasn't the best decision. But.
Yeah, no, I think that you definitely. I went Oldham because I sucked the first draft I did, and it's the last time I drafted Oldham. First draft, I was like, Oldham, let's do it. Because I think I opened like I don't know. I think it was like it was a Cracker Jacks, and I got a Cracker Jacks and a Thump in like the first. I don't know, like 4 packs. I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah, we're going to go Oldham with this. And then, dude, just hated my life the rest of the night. I was like, this is what I have to do to win with this deck. This is terrible. But I also don't want to be presented with an opportunity with like good Oldham cards and be like, I'm not going to take this because I'm not comfortable with it. So I was like, I'm doing Oldham no matter what tonight. If it presents itself. And, my only loss was to you actually, so I'm not gonna complain about that. Fucking Lexi. And I lost to you because I was playing it wrong because I fucking hate Oldham. And then we played Blake, being the gentleman that he is, let us play it back because we finished in like 14 minutes, and let us play it back. And I won the second game having played it correctly. And I was like, okay, all hope is not lost. He let me rebuild my self-esteem a little bit like that. So that was good.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. Yeah. I really do enjoy draft. Like this is just a fantastic.
Yeah. The draft experience is It's so different from any game I've ever played, just because, we obviously talked about it at the beginning of the podcast, and here we are back in the same subject, which is, we like, if you look at a lot of the players, like we have a lot of players locally who don't particularly love playing Briar, so they'll swerve off of Briar and play something else, and then we have people who go, it's obviously the best, so I'll take it, and the results tend to kind of exist in that same realm where, like we had two people like that went three people that went 3-0, and it was two Briars and an Oldham, and then a bunch of two ones because it was just a little 3-round like casual, and there were a few Lexis and a few Oldhams in that 2-1 range, and it's proof that if you just draft and build a cohesive deck and you can pilot it well, just don't screw up, don't do anything stupid, and you'll be fine. And that's
so we've got myself and Robert are going to be in Friday, and we're both playing in back-to-back sealed events, draft events, I think specifically. No, maybe it is just sealed. Whatever the twofer is, like there's like I think it
daily
is
double.
Sealed, and the daily double is sealed as well. Robert and I are both going to be doing those. And then Blake, you're flying in late Friday night?
Yeah, I'm flying in late Friday night just because I went to Vegas and I'm going to Orlando. I kind of gave on this one. I was like, I don't need to be there for the whole event. I'm okay just going for the main event and the Pro Quest this time if necessary. So I was trying
to be there for prime
it.
time, baby. Just gonna walk in when the music starts.
Yep, that's all we need to be there for.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really excited because this is gonna be my first calling. I haven't had a big event like this since Destiny Worlds. It's gonna be wild. Like, I'm really excited. Like, even if it's not as big as even Dallas, if there's 450 people registered for the main calling event, I'd be ecstatic. I think that'd still be a blast. So
well, that's a question in and of itself, though, right? Is do you think that we continue to maintain the volume of people? Because if you think about what we've got so far,
I think it dips again.
The main event in Vegas was 750, 780, something like that. The main event in Dallas was 502. And if you look at the event overall, they said they assumed around 1,000 was probably what was in Vegas, but they said 700-ish people probably were in Dallas playing. So 700, 750, maybe something like that.
I'll tell you, I think that it's probably going to end up being almost like linearly declining. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I would be shocked if there was less than 200 people registered for Cincinnati, but I would not be shocked if it was like 250 to 300.
Yeah.
Like, just because, one, you've got Orlando coming up really, really close. And if anything, people are going to be prioritizing an Orlando trip, especially because everyone and their mom got invites. Congrats on your XPs. Myself included. But like, I was already planning on going even just to play in the Pro Quest event. So like, just having that be so close, having Dallas be a good thermometer for, a less popular city, a little more difficult to travel to, less to do there outside of the calling itself. Like Cincinnati, I have been there once in my life, and from what I remember, that's the reason it's only been once. Like, it was a nice enough city, but just nothing to like write home about, right? Like,
right.
I was asking Robert what's good for restaurants there, and he was like, he's like a foodie, like he knows restaurants, and he was telling me, he's like, not like, there's a couple, like, so I don't know, just not. I wouldn't be shocked if if it dipped quite drastically. But that's okay.
I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if it was another 500 person event.
You think it'd be the same size as Dallas?
I think it's got a shot to be, only because realistically, with them only being a week apart, it was whether you were going to Cincy or Dallas, probably had less to do with its proximity to Orlando in terms of time, and more to do with like what you could make work with your schedule. Because for some people, it was just 1 weekend or the other. I know like that you're only like 2 weeks apart. You're talking about Cincinnati versus Orlando, but you're only 3 weeks apart if you're talking Dallas versus Orlando. So what's the difference between a week for a lot of people in terms of getting the time off or making things work with their kids, or like And it could have been just that might be the event that draws Dallas might be the event that draws more of the West Coast people because it's easier to travel from the West Coast down to Dallas. Whereas Cincinnati might be great for all of your East Coast people who are going to have a really short flight or drive.
That's fair.
You know, a lot of Midwesterners.
I was more thinking from the perspective that like there's probably going to be a decent amount of people doubling up, and they're going to double up Vegas and Dallas or Vegas and Cincy, and then possibly going to Orlando as well. I feel like the only thing that drew me to Cincinnati over Dallas was the fact that it's a road trip and not a flight. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll do Cincinnati because I can just road trip down there. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have done Dallas, and I would not have done Cincinnati. So if I'm thinking majority of people are splitting. They're saying Dallas or Cincinnati. Not many people are like, we're doing all four. Let's do it.
Oh,
so
totally. Yeah.
Given that choice, I assume Dallas would be like the travel. That would be where people would want to go.
It's easier to travel though. It's easier to travel to the Midwest from the East Coast though, because like if you're going south, you have to go through. Yeah,
that was the point that you made where I was like, that makes sense. People from the West Coast going to Dallas, East Coast going to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Which is kind of was proven by the fact that we have a pretty good contingent of players in Minnesota that will travel for events and go to big things. And I think only one person went to Dallas, whereas I think we have 6 or 8 people going to Cincinnati, and we had 16 people go to Vegas. So everything about going from the Midwest to Dallas was pretty much confirmed. It's like, I live in the Midwest. Do I go south or do I go to Cincy? It's like, well, whether or not I want to go to Cincy or Dallas as a city isn't really relevant.
Doesn't matter.
I just whatever travel is easier because a lot of people are driving to Cincinnati. I'm just flying because I'm coming in Friday night. It makes the trip shorter more than anything. So
Sealed. What are you hoping to see? If you could choose your deck that you see in Sealed for Saturday, what are you hoping that you see? What would be a card?
Yeah.
Let's each name a card from each class. That you're like, if I see this card, this is what I'm going. Like this leans me heavily towards this character.
A card or like a composite of like 2 or 3 cards?
Let's say first 2 packs. In first 2 packs, you see, these couple cards. What are you going?
Yep. So I think I would probably go Briar or Oldham would be my only 2 options personally. That's what I would choose to go. After trying Lexi even in draft, I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. This is nonsensical because your deck can just not function. You draw 4 arrows, you just don't have go again. So feels bad.
Yep.
If I were to play Oldham, I would want to see obviously a good amount of blues, but more importantly, earth blues, earth lore surges or so tomorrows, because that's a way that you can prevent the arcane damage.
Yep.
And then I would love to see either auras and thumps or Cracker Jacks and thumps. That would be kind of the thing that would sway me towards Oldham. And then the thing that would sway me towards Briar would be a pretty heavy lightning / like Bramble Spark. I think Ball Lightning is really good. I actually think one of the more underrated Briar things is like Bramble Spark, having enough earth to go Bramble Spark fused into Stir the Wildwood fused, because that's a play that just blows people out because all of a sudden it's like, hey,
awesome.
Yeah. When you can ping a little arcane and then go, here's 12 physical damage after you take that 1 arcane, it's insane.
Yep. Yeah. No, I really like Earth Briar. Specifically for the Briar matchup too, because like Earth Briar can just blow out
mirror.
Lightning Briar. Like if you got people that are like, I drafted all these lightning or ball lightnings and I've got it's like, cool. Can you take 12 to the face 2 turns in a row? You're dropping some hand. Oh, what? You block for 0 or maybe 2? Oh, get fucked. I love it.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. That's what I did with that tournament that we played where Robert beat me again in that tournament too. But my Briar killing Briar actually functioned pretty well.
Yeah. I mean Briar, I played more of an Earth Briar in our like box tournament, and the whole concept was just Bramble Spark into Stir the Wildwood. And if you could just Bramble Spark, Stir the Wildwood, you basically could just win that game in one turn almost, because it's so big that, to your point, like I saw I think I saw one Lexi or one Briar where they literally had 2 ball lightnings in hand. So you're just like, hey, here, take 2 arcane damage, and then I have this thing with go again, and it's like a 12, and then I'm gonna swing with my last resource. I'm gonna go ahead and swing this sword at you for 2 and 2.
Yeah. So I honestly, like, after getting a little more comfortable with Oldhim, I kind of have to agree with you. I don't know if I like the idea of my deck beating me through playing Lexi. You know, like I get that there's ways to mitigate that risk, to build it so that you have less likelihood of having that happening, and ways to like recover from having a hand like that. Like obviously Lexi's did fine, right? Like like my horse in the race, fucking Brendan, like I was like, he's gonna do very well, and he did, and he was on Lexi, and it was like, so Lexi is great. It's a great choice, but I don't know, and it can happen with any deck too. It just seems like Ranger, it's so much more obvious when you get a bad composition in your hand,
right?
And you're like, oh well, I can't just swing a weapon, or I can't just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with Briar, worst case scenario, you draw a handful of non-attack actions after poking them a bunch, and you can just super efficiently block out any attack that they have to throw at you because you've got 2 or 3 embodiments. So at least all of your non-attack actions block really heavy, and then you could just swing for 2 or try to set something up. Lexi, like I said, I drafted Lexi last night because I was in a pool where I noticed the first couple of packs. I was like, I'm going to grab, I had a Ball Lightning pack 1, Ball Lightning pack 2. So I thought, either way, I go Briar or Lexi, I'll be fine. But then I noticed that nobody was taking the arrows through the first 3 or 4 packs. Like every arrow was in the pack. So I thought, man, if they're not taking them now, they're not going to take them the second time around. So I just acquire all the lightning cards pass round 1, and then I just scoop up all the frazzles and buzz bolts and just poke a ton of damage if anything hits. The problem was that worked great against you. It worked great against Jason. Felt amazing. The deck just poured on the damage. Then I played Nick, the body, and I was like, hey, man, my deck sucks. The first 2 hands, I didn't draw a lightning card. So I had 4 arrows in both 2 hands. So I was just like, yeah, I load this arrow, give it +1. I attack for 5. He's like, cool. Block 5. And it's like, yep.
Arsenal pass.
Yeah, and then I'm arsenaling an arrow that I have no way of giving go again.
Yeah.
So I just I just draw a hand and it's all arrows, and I'm like, cool. I fired this arrow for my arsenal for 4. I arsenal again. Yeah, it's like your deck just absolutely dumps on you because I built the deck with like 60% plus lightning cards specifically because I thought I want my arrows to be the thing I do at the end of my turn, where I hopefully have a lightning card to fuse it with so that it can poke an extra damage if they don't block it out. And then I arsenal my lightning card so I have go again on something, and then I can go 2 or 3 wide every turn. It did that great against you, and it did it great against Jason. But then when you draw all your arrows, it's all attacked, but you can't do anything with them because you don't have go again. You don't have any way to do stuff unless you open.
Good old Ranger. Doing
Ranger gonna Ranger.
Ranger
gonna Ranger.
Yeah, I definitely am much more comfortable with Oldhim now, so which I'm glad because I think that is obviously a very viable with like Nam doing so well, winning with it. Like I think that definitely important not to pigeonhole yourself before you even see what's being passed, because being able to read the first time around the table and have an idea for the second 2 packs what your options are going to be. Yeah, like that could be really. It could be really good to be able to flex into anything that you think is going to give you an advantage. So, yeah. I mean, I'm super excited. I cannot wait to have this experience and to meet everybody. And I'm going to have tokens. Blake and I are going to have tokens again. So be sure to challenge us if you play us. Good luck. Godspeed. I think we've got 2 people that we're talking about going to be at this event that got tokens off you and Jason.
Only one. I never gave up a token. Jason only lost 1.
Okay. So there's 1 person that's coming for one of us.
Yeah.
And Jason's not going to be there, so don't even have to worry about it. Just throw it down. Let's do it. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a good time. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope everyone is having a great time with Sealed, because it's fantastic. If you haven't been getting out or your local community is not firing as much, grab your friends kicking and screaming, because it doesn't take much to get people into the game once they see what it's like.
Yeah.
And it is a super fun draft and sealed format. So get that going. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check out our gameplay videos that have been coming out. I know the last one actually had like the voices on it, which is nice. It hasn't just been Jason talking over like it was for the first 2 gameplays. So you get to actually hear like Blake and Jason go back and forth on the Viscerai. It was Viscerai into Lexi. Yeah. Super interesting match. So check that out and look forward to seeing y'all in the comments or in Cincinnati. See ya.